Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, TJ Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host. We've got the director of the OSS in the house tonight, Mr. James O'Reilly.
Yeah, it was a little touch and go there for a minute if whether I was gonna be director, but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, congratulations on the promotion. We appreciate you taking that time out of your busy schedule, taking care of those spy kids to come and talk with us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. So if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that sub button on YouTube, leave that 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's how you help the channel grow. Jim, what are we watching tonight?
Spy Kids 2. Robert Rodriguez's best movie?
Oh man, that is that is
I
that
don't
is
know.
that the tagline for the thumbnail for this episode?
I don't
Possibly
know.
his magnum opus. That's right.
You
We're
know what they
watching.
say about question marks and headlines. If there's a question mark, it means the answer is no.
But yes, we're watching 2002's Spy Kids 2 with the glorious subtitle, The Island of Lost Dreams. Written and directed by Robert Rodriguez and starring Antonio Banderas, Carla Gugino, Alexa Vega, and
What was
Daryl
that? What was her name?
Sabara. I think the how you spell Gugino is how it goes.
That sounds
But
good, yeah.
so yeah, I mean, honestly, well, there she is. Yes, Gugino.
Ah, you're the Italian one, man. What do you want me to tell you?
I don't know if that's Italian.
That sounds
I
Italian.
She possibly, I don't know. We'll go with Gugino. It's the Geely syndrome all over again. Where
Yeah, yeah.
we're once again diving into the hard semantics on how we pronounce somebody. We'll go
It's
with
a Gugino.
It's Gugino. We'll go with a Gugino right now. We got a Carla, we got a Gugino. Yes. So we're diving into Spy Kids 2. Jim, we're busting it out week over week. We're on a bit of a trend here right now with the lovely DVD cover. I got worried for a second. I didn't think I owned any Spy Kids movies, but lo and behold, the only Spy Kids movie I had was Spy Kids 2. So it's almost like it was meant to be. The stars aligned for us to really go in with a great log line for.
If you were gonna pick one, you really should have picked Spy Kids 3 Game Over, but I
All
mean, to
right.
each their
All
own, I
right.
suppose.
Is that the one with Sylvester Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone, Elijah Wood makes an appearance at some point.
Dear God. Yeah, no, I think this was the last one I jumped off on. I knew that Sylvester Stallone was in the third one, but I've never. This is the first one, and this one are the only ones that I've ever seen. I jumped off after two.
Oh man, you gotta at least see the third one. But I don't wanna throw you too off here just in the beginning, but you gotta at least watch the third Spy Kids.
Maybe who knows? After the end here, when they found our lovely thoughts in this movie, maybe it's done enough to make me want to watch the rest of the series. But we turn to the back of the DVD cover, and it reads. The coolest spy kids anywhere are back for a huge new adventure. This time, Carmen and Junie are on a mission to recover a device that threatens the entire world. They enlist the skills of mom and dad and even their spy grandparents in a thrilling show of family teamwork. With even more cool gadgets, imaginative creatures, and awesome special effects, it's a nonstop high tech adventure for everyone. That doesn't really explain the movie, but okay.
I mean, it does and it
It
doesn't.
kind
It
of, it
explains
does.
exactly what the movie is without telling you too much,
Yeah,
which I
in
think
the
is kind of a accomplishment for a DVD cover.
in the biggest form of generalities that they probably could keep it as vague as possible. That's the log line, but they
Yeah,
really don't explain.
that's why it's perfect for this movie because this movie is just kind of like very vague.
It's just enough to wet your whistle, but not enough to spoil any of the grander set pieces from the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Jim, did you see this movie in theaters?
I definitely did, yeah, because I liked these Spy Kids movies. I don't remember what I thought of this one, but I know I saw all of them because I definitely saw the third one in theaters as well. I was a big Spy Kids fan.
Interesting. This is the only one that I saw in theaters, but I must have really enjoyed the first one because obviously I went to go see the second one in theaters. I actually was in Ohio visiting family, and all the cousins got around together to go see this movie. So maybe it was a situation where like one of the cousins was like a huge Spy Kids fan, and like we were just like, yeah, well, like all the cousins are going, so I guess I'm along for the ride. Because I don't remember being a big fan of the first one, or even really being able to explain what happens in the first one.
It seems like if you were at like a big family gathering and you were just trying to keep some young kids busy, like, because there's a lot more young kids than usual. There's probably like 5 or 6 of you at least.
Yeah.
So just get them to a movie for a few hours. This feels like that kind of movie.
Yeah. And they were probably like, we got some youngins here. There, we can't bring them for Austin Powers. Let's go for we need something lighter. What do we got? They were like Spy Kids too. Let's do it. And they were like, all right. But I must have enjoyed it because I remember watching this movie a lot as a kid after it came out. Like this is the one that I remember the most out of the two.
Yeah.
Like go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I remember like watching it this time. As soon as like it started, I remembered like every so much of this movie. As soon as like the first scene started, I was like, oh yeah, I remember all that. This movie's so silly. I remember all this.
Yeah, I didn't remember any of it. I think I had the plot of the first one in my head as what this movie was all about.
Yeah, and I'm
Because
guessing the
I
first
went
one
into
is
this thinking Alan Cumming was going to be the villain,
yeah,
and he was in it like the
for
first
two
like 15
seconds.
minutes, and I'm like, oh man, wait till we find out he's the bad guy, and then he just never came back. So I was like, oh wait, was he the bad guy in the first one?
Gotcha. All right, because I was wondering that because I was like, oh, there's Alan Cumming. Like, oh, there's Monk. And then it was like that was the only scenes they were in. I was like, did they really spend like 5 hours in makeup for Monk just to do that one scene? Like,
Yeah, dude, Tony Shalhoub is a dedicated craftsman. All right, of course he spent that much time in makeup to play whatever that guy's name was in Spy Kids 2.
that is too funny. So yeah, so that was the biggest stuff that I remembered from this. But it seems like a lot of people were probably in my boat, that the ones that did go see this just kind of got dragged to it because I don't really see that there were many diehards taking a look at these quick box office numbers, Jim. So let's dive into the nitty gritty and let's dive into these juicy numbers.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, numbers, dates, hooray, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
All right, Spy Kids opens the weekend of August 9th through August 11th.
This
Um,
screams August movie to me too. So
yeah,
perfectly
yeah.
placed.
I have an interesting question about what kind of movie this is, but I'll save it for later, right? So
Okay.
for now, it opens against a $38 million budget. Like
Okay.
I said, August 9th to
Modest.
August 11th. First weekend, it opens in third place
Not very great.
with only 16.7 million.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, pretty tough.
That's tough.
Um,
That's tough. Especially
in
with a modest
second
budget like
place,
38, like you're hoping to open at least matching that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like 38's kind of a small budget, so if this is going to be like a runaway hit, it probably has a bigger number, but like we'll see what its
It was
domestic
legs,
total
yeah.
versus that budget is
And
by
what
the
its
end of
legs
this,
are.
right?
Maybe this thing kind of just runs through August since August is usually like a death zone anyway.
Yeah, and so this is a weekend we talked about a little bit. Number two this weekend was Signs, which we talked about, and then we also talked about what beat it out, which was Vin Diesel's Triple X.
A real thing. Man, Ohio cousins couldn't take us to triple X.
I know, right? What are the odds? Um, so yeah, I mean, we talked a bunch about that weekend specifically in a different episode. So moving on to weekend two, Spy Kids drops down to fourth place, only a 31.1% drop. It pulls in 11.5 million. It beats out opening this weekend in third. Blue Crush beats it out,
Oh, great surfer
which
movie.
is that surfing movie, right?
Yeah.
And then Signs and Triple X are still the top two. Also comes out this weekend, Adventures of Pluto Nash. Do you remember that movie?
Oh boy. Yeah, the one that started torpedoing Eddie Murphy's career.
Yeah, just for a little bit. I think he comes back for like Dreamgirls, but
My God. Yeah, what was that like? Fucking Dream Girls.
um, Weekend 3, Spy Kids jumps back up to third, so
Oh,
doing pretty
okay.
well, like for
Yeah.
itself. It's hanging in there.
It's got
Uh,
legs.
Another good drop, 34.1% to 7.6 million. Signs and Triple X stay in the top two, but they flip flop. This is what we talked about in Signs when it jumps back
There were
up to
signs
one.
recaptured.
And then weekend 4, Spy Kids comes in fourth with 6.1 million. That's like a 19.5% drop.
Okay.
So like through this fourth weekend, it's up to 67.9 million domestic gross. So it's like, it didn't open as big, but it's been collecting money for these first 4 weeks. And it's already made back its budget by like 1.5, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. ZZ Top would say this movie's got legs.
Yeah. And then it drops to sixth. This is its first like 50% plus drop. It goes down to 3 million.
Mm.
And then let's just ride it out of the top 10. Weekend
No.
6, it comes in ninth with 2.7 million. And then weekend 7, it's finally in 13th place with 1.6 million.
Boy. All right. So 6 weeks in the top 10, good enough to join one other movie that sat with 6 weeks in the top 10. It joins Shallow Hal.
Some totals here. Domestic 85.8 million.
Okay.
International 33.9 for a worldwide total of 119.7 million.
19.7 is good enough for the number 26 spot on our list here. Just behind the Rugrats movie with 140.9 million and just ahead of A Knight's Tale with 117.5.
Yeah.
And
So this isn't
not
like a
even,
runaway.
yeah, not a
This isn't like
runaway
a
hit,
runaway hit, but it's like
but
it's decent.
yeah, it made its money back and it was good enough for them to invest in future movies. So, it got its job done.
I do want
Probably
to look really quickly what the totals were against the first one.
against the first Spy Kids.
Yeah, because I bet you that one did better.
Probably. I would imagine like usually. It's a series that feels like it can definitely like the first one was a runaway hit, so they were like, let's make more, but nobody was really asking for like more.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one domestic was 112.7 million. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it beats it
so
like
right
by
there,
a good amount.
domestically, it already almost beats the worldwide total of the second one.
Yeah, worldwide it was 148 million. So yeah, the first one was definitely a bigger
So
success.
not
Although
like
this
a
one does good enough to get us Spy Kids 3 game over. So
it's true. And it's not like it's that far of a runaway hit ahead of the second one. Like the second one's just slightly underneath it. So it's not like a huge drop from movie to movie.
yeah, I also wonder if this is one of like is this Robert Rodriguez's like one for me movie? Like I feel like
Oh, I
all of his movies are kind of for him, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think I've ever really, I'm hoping that he's one of the people that we have lined up for the IMDb deep dive because I feel like he's definitely one of those people that his career is just chock full of one for me, one for me. You want me to do one for you? I got to do one for me first. All right, I got one for
So
you next time. One more for me. What do you think?
I have a question.
Okay.
That since you brought up Robert Rodriguez, while we're at the end of this box office thing, have you seen the movie, or did you see the movie in theaters Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
No, I did not.
Oh boy, you are really you are such a disappointment.
But I do really enjoy that movie.
Okay. All right.
2003, we're
So
what? We're 13?
yeah,
Yeah, no, I did not. I was not lucky enough to go see that yet,
I saw that in theaters for sure.
unfortunately.
It was
Okay,
really good.
well,
That might be the flick you missed.
so
But
there you
so
go.
I don't
Put it on your
know.
possibilities for flick you missed, Jimbo.
I don't know that I want to do Robert Rodriguez yet. I think is my point.
Okay, I mean, you could save him in the pocket because I have seen other Robert Rodriguez movies that he will show up.
Oh, I know.
There will be a next
Yeah. In the
time.
famous words, who's that Def Leppard that
Yeah,
says that all the time?
the famous words of Def Leppard, and there will be a next time. But yeah, I think because he writes, edits, produces, directs like a lot of his things, I feel like he gets a lot of leeway that other, directors working within the studio system don't normally get, where he's able to do what it feels like mostly just movies for him and not so much
He
ones for the studio.
he's like one of the few people that I think can just make whatever movie they want, right? Like, and
Oh,
nobody's gonna tell him no. Like,
absolutely. But also like he always makes them on tight budgets too. So like Robert Rodriguez is gonna walk into a room and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this movie," and then be like, "Give me $200 million." Like that's just not him. Like he's like guerrilla warfare making movies here for like $20 million.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Whatever the reason, he makes a lot of for him movies. So it's
He
hard.
does.
It's
Well,
but
not
this is like I mean this kind of success though is probably why he gets to
he
do
gets
that
to do
because
that.
even when he
Yeah.
misses, it's like it's not that big of a miss, you know?
Yeah, he's still at least making his money back. Like they might not be runaway hits, but he's at least not losing studios money. Um,
And
and that
honestly,
yeah.
this is getting more into the things that I like versus whatever else. But for that $38 million budget, this movie looks pretty awesome.
Well, it helps that he uses well things that like he uses old film techniques to play off and do a bunch of like some of the special effects. Like I it's one of those things that I like too, is I like that he does like the kind of like the old style fuck, what do they call it? The like the stop motion type for
Yeah,
like
like
when you
the
look at like the skeleton.
claymation.
Yeah, like the claymation, and then there's like the kind of like stop motion of the skeletons. Like I like that he uses like film techniques of yesteryear to make movies and like to do like the special effects in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a big part of it. Like I know it's not all practical, but a lot of it looks practical. And I'm not sure how practical it all is, but a
Oh,
lot of it
I don't
looks the
think
part.
all of this movie looks like it was made on a green screen.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
there is not a single frame of this movie that looks like it took place in anything resembling the real world. But
No,
it,
I mean,
Jim, not only before we quickly dive into this stuff, not only did this work, these types of things work for us, but it worked for, the regular moviegoer as well. This movie is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, sits with a 75%. It's about at the halfway point on IMDb with a 5.3. But cinema score, A minus.
yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
But I'm starting to question how cinema score even works, because we've charted it for like four movies now, and I've yet to see one underneath an A. I think like, or no, what signs at the B plus. But even like what's the litmus test for it? Like how did this get a better reading than Signs?
I don't know, dude. I don't know what the heck it even is. You have to go look up at some point between now and next episode how they do cinema score.
So we figured it out. They compile they poll people, like the audience that come out of the opening weekend of a movie. They give them like the cards that say like, well, what did you rate this movie? What'd you think of this? What'd you think of this? Like, what would give your rating? And then they like compile like the data and get an average score.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that's how like I think they figure these out. But it's crazy. Like so many of them always end up skewering. Like you very rarely see movies that drop lower than B's.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really like feel good movie, so I could see why it would get a better audience reaction on opening weekend. Cause like Signs, I enjoyed Signs, but I could see a lot of people leaving the theater being like, "What? That was so stupid." Like, you
Especially
know
if
what I
people
mean?
like aren't
Like
really into
enough
like
people to bring the score down.
yeah, and Signs too has like that added thing that like I'm sure like the religious allegories like turn a bunch of people off. So like you could have people walking out of that being like, I don't want a movie about
Yeah,
religious themes, like so I could see that. Whereas like this, it's just
yeah, I guess
you're
so. I
getting
don't know.
families that are coming out of this. So like families are like, yeah, the kids had a good time. It was enjoyable for 90 minutes.
Right,
Like it was good.
right. Everybody's trying to have a good time when they go to see Spy
Exactly.
Kids.
Exactly. Like there's
Everybody's
there's I feel like there's less chance of divisiveness as like families are coming out after seeing Spy Kids 2, as opposed to Joe Schmo on date night coming out of Signs.
Yeah, and I
So
mean
yeah.
it is really fun too. Like you mentioned the skeletons before. One of my favorite parts of this movie is toward the end when Junie is fighting what's his name, Gary, whatever, Gary Giggles.
Giggle. Yeah. The fucking names
And
of this are
like
great.
the older sister flies in out of nowhere and does like the monkey bars kick move to him, and then all the skeletons like start cheering.
You're in the crowd. Yeah, like they're all the crowd or like sports.
They're in like bleachers, yeah.
Yeah, we're all like cheering it on. Yeah, it
And
is.
they
It's
they react to like 4 or 5 different things in that little fight scene, and every single one of them crack me up. I like to. This is probably maybe the second funniest part when he meets the president's daughter at the dinner in the beginning, and she's surrounded by the Secret Service agents who are all
also
dancing
dancing.
in step with her so that you can't see her. But then he asks her to dance, and she's like, "I can't, cause I only dance ballet."
He's like, so do I.
Yeah, and then they do a whole like sequence of
Yeah.
ballet dancing.
Well,
It's so funny.
it's so good. And what I think that's one of my favorite things about this movie too is that it was basically like he was like, I'm going to make a James Bond movie, but my James Bond is like an 11-year-old child.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and what I love about it is it's easy for this movie to feel too tongue in cheeky, but I love that he has enough faith in his child actors to be like, Junie, I need you to play this as straight as you've ever played a fucking role in your life. And
yeah,
that's what makes it work so well is that Daryl Sabara is just selling the shit out of this, the silliest thing you've ever fucking seen in your life. Like it's so absurd every second of this movie, but the kids play it as if it's life or death, and it makes it so much funnier and more enjoyable. Like I loved it. That whole opening scene that hilariously takes place at Six Flags Magic Mountain, like in California. Like there's the actual theme
Oh,
park in
really?
California. Yeah. And I love that like they filmed it at this actual park, but then every ride in the park has like this crazy CGI track over it that has the most ridiculous thing going.
Yeah,
And I fucking cried when Bill Paxton showed up as like the Texan like who owns the theme park.
that's
I lost it. I was like, dude,
yeah,
immediately 1 star for Bill Paxton. Like you automatically got a star out of me for Bill Paxton. Like anytime Bill shows up in anything, I'm immediately like, this
yeah.
is the greatest thing ever.
No, he was great, and I mean that scene was also like a total fever dream
Oh yeah,
because
it
none
was
of it
after
made
that
any
scene.
sense.
Yeah, that scene is the one where after that scene is when I texted you and I was like, dude, this movie is fucking ludicrous. Like,
Yeah, why did she get out of the thing?
yeah,
She got on the ride and stole the override key
yeah,
and then got out and was walking on the ride. What was she
just
thinking, dude?
just so that her dad would be forced to show up. But like, what was dad gonna do? Like, he's not
Yeah,
gonna come up there. Like,
yeah.
I,
He's like, I can order him to talk to you. I'm level 2.
I'm a level 2 spy. I could order him to talk to you. Also, dude, there's so many that guys and gals in this movie too. Like we already mentioned quickly, like Bill Paxton shows up immediately recognizable. But then
Yeah,
fucking Cindy Lou Who is the president's daughter,
yeah,
which is
yes.
fucking
Taylor
hilarious.
Momsen, yeah.
Dude, fucking Emily Osment is the
Yep, yep.
other spy, dude. When she
Plays
showed up, I
Gerda
was
or
like,
whatever.
dude, yeah, like Gertie or whatever the fuck it is. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
dude,
Gertie.
no way, dude. Emily Osment, like that's hilarious.
Yeah, who will
Um,
go on to star in Hannah Montana and Young and Hungry, just to
Young and
name a
Hungry, yeah,
few.
dude, Young and Hungry, baby. Great, fucking fantastic show right there. Who else? Obviously Ricardo Montalban you got in there, like always a classic when you see him. And then the
Yeah.
grandma is I didn't realize is the mom on Two and a Half Men too. I don't know what her name is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
I never really watched that
yeah,
show.
she was the mom on Two and a Half Men. And
Um,
yeah, so she shows up in a bunch of stuff.
Danny Trejo
Yeah,
famously plays Machete.
Machete, but apparently not the Machete from Machete.
I
I was
don't know
reading
about that. Where did you hear that?
when I was looking up stuff like about this movie, there was an interview with Robert Rodriguez where he said that the two machetes aren't the same machete.
Oh, that sounds like a backtrack to me, dude. He named them the exact same
That's what
thing.
I'm saying. I was like, dude, come on.
And
Like you
they're
named a
played by the
machete,
same
like,
guy.
yeah, like you knew what you were doing. Like, get out of here. Like,
That's
yeah.
definitely a backtrack, dude. No way.
Oh, definitely. And fucking what was it? Mike Judge is the dad giggles.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, so just an absolute bevy of talent that Robert Rodriguez assembled to be in this. Not even mentioning, obviously Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino. I think that's the
Yeah.
only way I could pronounce her name correctly now is if I do it in a thick Italian accent.
Is correctly is a strong word. I don't know what that is. That sounded not necessarily correctly.
Well, it feels more correct, Jim. So we're gonna go on
Yeah,
that one.
go with how you feel. That's
Oh no,
what you got to
I always do. I always do. Oh, and then was the president is Shooter McGavin.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is so absurd.
It's so great. And like, so yeah, so this movie is a lot of fun, and it
All
definitely
right,
helps
so
that. Yeah, go on.
I got a question for you.
Okay, is this the one you were saying you were saving before that I'm finally hearing now?
No, no. I might have
Oh,
honestly forgotten what that one was already.
I fucking knew you were gonna. All right, what's your new question?
um, that opening like 15 to 20 minutes with the theme park like sequence and then the
Yeah,
sequence at like the dinner where the dad's trying to get promoted.
yeah.
What you put that up against any Marvel movie for the first 20 minutes. Who you taking?
You're really putting us in the hot seat today. It would depend. It would depend on the Marvel movie. Like you would have to pick a specific Marvel movie. But
Okay, so
I
like say
I would
like the first Captain America.
no. You pick the one bread and butter for me, which is the Captain America series. I would put it
Okay.
over. I would easily put it over Hulk. I'd put it over like Iron Man 2, Ant-Man, and any of those fucking ones.
Right? It was a serious action spy opening. It was
Yeah,
really like
absolutely.
top notch.
And sure, like they're on different levels because obviously this is a kids movie, but like you strip that away and you take it for just entertainment value. Like I'm in for the ride. When Junie does everything at the OSS like dance that we were talking about, like I am on this kid's journey from the get-go. I'm like, yeah, dude, fuck
Yeah.
those people, man. Like I'm with you, Junie. Like he's got the
Yeah.
cool gecko that like ties his bow tie for him. I'm like, dude, this
Yeah.
kid fucks,
Dude,
man.
by the
Like
way, how amazing was that whole sequence with the little bug trying to get to the briefing room
dude,
without
it's
being seen? It's like jumping on people's like briefcases and
cases.
doing Spider-Man moves through the hallway.
Dude, it's so great. And this movie is very great at how it presents Junie's whole story throughout this whole movie, which is, this kid feeling like he's being passed over for how great he is. Like he's this fucking wunderkind spy kid. Just feels like he's getting absolutely disrespected throughout this entire movie. And dude, I died when they did like the trope at the end of this movie where they're like, Junie, you're the best. We want you back. And he's like, no, I resign. Just
Yeah.
still resigns from the spike.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He
he's a
doesn't
lone
need
wolf,
them
baby.
anymore. He never needed them.
He's too good for them.
Yeah. What'd you think of Buscemi in this movie?
It's so absurd. He's great because obviously Steve Buscemi never phones it in. He's always doing something weird, but his character is so absurdly hilarious. I know we touched on it briefly when last episode when we were talking about doing this episode, but when he drops the fucking line in a children's movie, do you think God stays in heaven because he too fears what he's created? Is
Yeah,
like, dude, what? Like, this is a movie for children. Like, that is way too deep. What are you doing?
yeah, yeah. He was something else. You know who he reminded me of? He reminded me of the main character from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, which is basically at like a very core level. They're kind of the same movie. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're both these like eccentric scientists that have created this island unlike any you've ever seen before.
yeah,
Him with
exactly.
his diabolical
They're
creations
responsible
of
for all kinds of like insane new forms of life.
yeah, dude, I love that when he's like, I was trying to make them pocket size, but unfortunately, I grew
Dude,
them. It's like,
his
what?
plan. his plan was absurd. It was so good.
It was so
I would
absurd.
totally buy one of those pocket-sized zoos with the spider monkeys in them.
It's like I was gonna make a pocket creation, and then he was like, and then I could take it one step further. Then I was gonna make interspecies. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
just
sure, dude, whatever.
it fits this world so well though, you know? It
No,
fits
it
the world of
does.
the movie so perfectly. And
It
yeah,
does.
when he's like, I accidentally, and then in the flashback, he like grabs the two things
Yeah.
and like looks at him with like a big smile on his face.
Well, I love the one where he tries to make the one and it starts to grow and it like kind of knocks him over. And he does this really like vaudeville silly trip where then he drops the rest of the goo into
Yes,
the zoo.
into the pet zoo, yeah.
And it's like, dude, you had 9 million chances to not do that. Like,
Yeah. So I don't know. Buscemi was pretty good in this. I thought he was funny.
yeah,
He
no,
had
he's
like a
great.
little
He's
bit of a payoff too. Like he had to go out and finally like be one with his creations.
yeah, like the whole time he's just sitting there because he's afraid, and then it just turns out that they were just like, "No, dude, master, like we're cool with you, man. Like we just wanted to see you."
Yeah, they just go up and start licking his
Licking his
face like
face,
they're his
yeah.
pets. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we love you, man. We fucking love you. Another thing that I really love that I thought was so funny that I was happy that they did. Obviously you get the portion with Alexa Vega and Emily Osment in the bird nest, and
Yeah.
they're and she's giving her the cell like, your dad's really bad, and she's the one who's going to kind of come around to it at the end. But I love that the son immediately justifies and contextualizes to try and like be like, no, if my dad did that, he had a damn good reason to do
Yeah.
it.
He's like, that's
And
just what it takes to be in the big
yeah,
leagues.
he's like, you want to be the best, you gotta cut a few corners. So I
Yeah.
love that the son just immediately doubled down on being
Yeah.
bad.
He was so in to be an evil spy.
It's like, because like throughout the whole movie, like he's kind of a dick, but like he just wants to be the best spy kid. So it's like, all right, yeah, he's arrogant and he's gonna take the because like he wants to be the best. But the second he finds out his dad is like doing evil shit, he's like, no, like that's just what you got to do, man. And he just immediately zones in on it.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, immediately love this. Like, do it, man.
Yeah, I loved at the end too when he's like, she's like, just try and stay on the good side. And he's like, I don't know, maybe. And then he puts on his sunglasses and they just say bad boy across. And she's totally swooned by it.
It's
So funny.
it's such a silly movie. It's so over the top. Is there anything that you didn't work for you that that wasn't as kosher as the rest?
I mean, it's hard to really hold it against it, but a lot of the siege, like a lot of that green screen stuff looks kind of hokey and not in a good way, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. That was going to be one of my points too, because like obviously the spots where he's intentionally doing the kind of stop motion claymation stuff like that all looks great to me because it's supposed to be in that style. But a lot of the backdrops of stuff looked like just the actual settings of things looked terrible. Like a lot of the times when they're on the island, like I think of like when they're at like the pyramid outside, that some of that just looked god awful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of right. It kind of looks like a bad video game.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's so much of this movie that just doesn't seem real at all. Like it suffers from the he saw Phantom Menace and saw that George Lucas just made the entire movie on like a soundstage with a green screen, and he was like, I'm gonna do that. And like and
Yeah.
did that. And that's what so much because it's like the spot where at the OSS dinner, like none of that looks real. Like even though they're at Magic Mountain, which is a real place, it never feels like tangible in a real setting at all. Like, and if it wasn't for like the roller coasters in the background, I never would have guessed the actual park. But
Yeah.
it's just like, dude, all of this looks so glaringly on a green screen.
Yeah, so there was that, and then I mean, story-wise, there was a few things that kind of bugged me. The whole thing with her parents was not necessarily a big part of the movie, but like, man, that was such a cliche.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Well, that all just felt like something just to give them something to do in the movie. Because they really do is like they get in the sub, the parents come also. They have one scene where they're kind of like at odds, and then they land on the island, and Antonio Banderas takes the bullet, and they're like, you know, you're good enough for my daughter now. And it's like, okay, like, sure.
Yeah. No, nobody's good enough for their daughter, but he just might be close.
Yeah, you're damn close. Like,
I did kind of enjoy the scene when they were on the sub, but it was just like, man, like, what do I need this for, you know? I
exactly.
guess
Yeah.
that's what makes it like the adults will watch that part and get a chuckle out of it, I suppose.
Would they? Because I mean, like, we're the adults, and I didn't really like. I could have left. You could have left that on the cutting room floor and just stuck with the kids, and I would have been completely fine.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I mean, like a movie when you take your family to it, like there's probably some dude sitting there like, yeah, man, this is, yep, I don't like my mother-in-law.
It's
This
true.
movie gets me.
That is true. I mean, it's that whole storyline was worth it just for the hilarious visual of Antonio Banderas putting on a pencil thin mustache.
Yeah, oh, yeah, she rips it off. Yeah.
Like that guy, I got a chuckle out of that was when they were like, "We got to suit up," and his like last thing is to just put the pencil thin mustache on.
Can I have my mustache back, please?
It's so silly. Another thing that kind of doesn't work for me, and again, it goes along with what you were saying, where it's like it's kind of hard to hold it against this movie because it's a kids movie. But like some of the stuff that he names things in this is just absolutely just ridiculous. Like the trans mooker, like it's like what?
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like what? What does that even mean?
Dude, I love that one that they did it at the beginning and the end. Which, first of all, dude, that the fact that at the dinner scene, all only the adults got poisoned because they drank the champagne was so funny because it was just a bunch of kids fighting them. That was great.
That was
They
fun. Or
were
even like the
like
one
launching kids
idiot.
across the room.
Yeah, the one idiot tries to give Junie like the champagne. He's like, I can't drink that.
Yeah, and that's when he knows something's up. But no, so like that was really cool. But that they did the visual at the end of that whole set piece, and then at the end of the movie where they had those spinny yellow guns and the
Oh yeah.
transmooker like shut them down.
Yeah, it's like it's so silly.
And that's one of the that's probably what I love about this movie most is just the weird aesthetic that it has. It's so unique to this movie or these like this series of movies. All the gadgets are so funky looking and I don't even know really how to explain it. It kind of reminds me of the unseries of a series of unfortunate events TV show a little,
I-
but it just has this like weird aesthetic to all the spy stuff where none of it looks like realistic or cool. It all looks like funky or goofy.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's always found a way to make stylistically make his movies their own and feel very unique and not like anything you've seen before. And this movie does a really good job of feeling completely unique as opposed to any other type of kids movie that was coming out at the time.
Yeah, like those like wonky helicopters they have are so cool looking.
Yeah. Or even like just the idea that he's like, yeah, the bad guys, they're gonna wear magnets on their head, and the way that they're gonna get away is the
Yeah.
ship is gonna be magnetized, and they're all just gonna explode up into the thing, and then we're just gonna look in a terrible CGI shot of the ship flying away.
Yeah. Dude, that part was great though. I love the way they showed it with her throwing the spoons and then when she
Yeah.
loaded up again, they like started to float away.
Yeah,
Such a cool visual to get that across.
it's very silly. Is extremely, extremely silly. But yeah, it's a fun kids movie. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it definitely started a lot hotter than it finished. Let me put it that way. I kind of got
Oh,
bored by the end of it.
yeah, it definitely outstays its welcome, which I think it clocks in. Yeah, it's an hour and 40, which is usually the sweet spot. But with a movie like this, I feel like 90, shaving off another 10 off of that might have definitely smoothed some things over.
Yeah, and I think after watching it this time, the other like negative I can think of, it's probably the most forgettable of them. And I'm saying that and I'm probably biased, but it's because I literally don't remember it compared to the other two. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
I,
even watching it this time, there wasn't anything that really like stuck out that was like super unique. I guess maybe the magnet thing, but like the third one is just so much more out there and so much more visually insane. And like so like I feel like I remember that one a lot more.
gotcha. Yeah, I guess I honestly don't remember any of the other ones, so I can't really say as to that.
We should watch the third one. We should watch the third one, even if it's not for this. We could just talk about it as regular old people.
Talk it off camera, off the record,
Yeah, yeah.
on the hutch, and very.
But yeah, I don't know. What about you? Was there anything else you didn't like about this?
No, I mean those were the two big ones, and then the only other thing I could think of that was kind of like awkward, at least story wise. It was weird that they just like suspend Junie at that point, and then 2 seconds later, like Alexa hacked it, and then they just started like walking through the thing again, and they're just giving out jobs to everybody and send it like I get that like they hacked it in and like the adults aren't thinking anything of it, but then like Gertie and what's his name come in to take their assignment, and the guy even says like what the assignment is, and it's not the assignment that they were all hyped about getting for their dad, and they don't say
Yeah,
anything about it. They just get in the thing and leave, and it was like, wait, weren't you guys jazzed about the assignment, and now you're not even questioning the fact that you have a different assignment?
yeah. I guess the way I took it was that sounded like a code name, so that they didn't think too much of it.
No, but
Like he
then
called it like
for
601J something. Like it wasn't like a name, the one that he gave them.
Yeah, but then for Junie and them, he said the actual assignment.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very nitpicky,
Yeah,
man.
it is. No, it is. I'm saying
Very nitpicky.
it is. Well, I mean, all of it's really nitpicky because at the end of the day, like you were just like, I'm critiquing hard on like is just essentially a kids movie. Like, why are you thinking too hard in this? Like,
Dude, that was the fact that they hacked it was one of the parts that I really liked too. Where it was just like, dude, it doesn't matter if they suspend you. We're better at this than they are. Like, we can just be spy kids if we want.
yeah, well, Junie
I
has
thought
to
that
Junie has to learn that he could play outside the system. He don't need the
right,
man.
right. No, I thought that was really cool the way that
He's
they just went on the mission anyway.
he's gonna be a lone warrior, man. He's a lone wolf until I guess
I
they
like
call
that. Yeah, the lone wolf.
him.
I don't remember how much of that's a part of the third one. I feel like it's not. I feel like
That's
he
what I was
gets
just
like
gonna
sucked
ask. I
back
was like,
in.
I was gonna say, like, is the third one like he gets like they get dragged back in and like they have to be spy kids again, or is like,
I don't.
are they just like bounty hunters for hire almost in a sense? Like they do their own assignments for what they want.
I think it's that they. I think like their dad gets kidnapped or something like that.
Oh, so it's not yeah.
Like Sylvester's like for whatever reason they have to go into Sylvester Stallone's like video game, and I think it's to rescue one of their family members.
They're in a video game?
Yeah, it's in a virtual reality video game, and everybody's in these like weird like power suits the whole movie. It's so cool, dude.
So all right, so yeah, I'm looking at a lot over a year after the events of the second film, Junie has retired from the OSS and now
Yeah.
works as a private detective.
Oh baby.
Like that is fucking amazing. And no, it's Carmen goes missing
Oh, okay.
and he has to come back and he goes into the video game.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So Carmen goes missing, and that drags him back in, but he doesn't join the OSS again, right?
Yeah, no, yeah,
He's his
no.
own private guy.
He's a private eye. Dude, he's a fucking private dick. That's so funny. It's called out of retirement.
He's called out of retirement.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
dude, you
movies,
gotta
man.
watch the third one. It's awesome.
I honestly might have to at this point. Like just looking at this is telling me I gotta come back into it. They brought Salma Hayek into the next one.
Yep.
George Clooney's in it.
Yep.
Glenn Powell's in it.
Yep.
Dude, get out of here. All right, so I might actually have to watch this now. All right, Jim, you convinced me. I'll watch Spy Kids 3. The real question is, Jim, did you watch the fourth one, Spy Kids Armageddon?
No, I did not. No, hold on. Armageddon's not the fourth one, my dude.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
I saw Spy Kids 4, and then
Oh
there was
no,
one
you're right.
called
You're right. Spy Kids all the time in
Armag.
the world.
Yeah.
Fourth one, and then the fifth one is Spy Kids Armageddon.
Right. That just came out in 2023 apparently, which I don't know how I missed that. I got to go back and check it out.
Yeah, here we go. 2011, Spy Kids all the time in the world. Standalone sequel. Oh, so we're not following our usual Spy Kids anymore. Dude, fuck off. The dad is Joel McHale.
in the new Spy Kids
Yeah,
movie.
all the time in the world. The parents are Jessica Alba and Joe McHale.
Oh my
That's
god.
fucking hilarious. And Ricky Gervais and Jeremy Piven are in it. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck all the way
Danny
up.
Trejo still plays Uncle Machete too.
Is he? Dude, this is
Yeah,
so
yeah, I'm
funny.
looking at it.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Fuck off. All right, who's in Armageddon? Now we gotta see. This one looks like nobody's. They went completely different.
Dude, I
Nope.
need to just binge
Nope.
watch all the
Dude,
Spy Kids movies.
they got Zachary Levi in Armageddon.
Oh, no way. He's the dad?
Yeah, looks like it. And Gina Rodriguez is in it too. Oh my God, that's so funny. Fucking Zachary Levi. Dude, man. Yeah,
Wow.
he just keeps going back to the well, man. That's funny. Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. Kind of went off on a tangent
Yeah,
there,
I
but
want to just
I don't
watch all these movies
I
at
don't
this
really
point.
have much left to add for Spy Kids too.
No, I mean, right. What else is there to say? It's like,
Quite a franchise that we've uncovered here. But all right, Jim, I'm curious, very curious to see who we're gonna pull up here for the IMDb deep dive.
so I'm really open to suggestions. I'm kind of wondering what you think because this is a tough one to pick. I know Robert Rodriguez is going to come back at some point,
So I
and
mean,
maybe we do a little bit like we did with M Night Shyamalan last week, where let's look at like what he's made up to this point and kind of like put it where we want it for Robert Rodriguez, like where we think it fits in.
Robert Rodriguez, you want to do or
Yeah, like Robert Rodriguez, but we'll only go up to Spy Kids because there's so much stuff that comes after that. I don't want to do all of him in this like one thing, you know?
it's true. Okay. All right. Yeah. So hit me with some Robert Rodriguez, some
All
double
right.
R's.
So there's the really big starter ones. El Mariachi and Desperado come out in
Ooh.
1992 and 1995 respectively. I don't think I've ever seen El Mariachi. I'm pretty sure I've seen Desperado.
I've seen both of those, but only once. They were a long time ago. Yeah, I remember Desperado, especially being fucking sick.
Yeah, so those two are great. He has a segment in Four Rooms. Do you remember Four Rooms?
No, I've never even heard of that.
It's this weird it's broken into like four or five like 15 to 20-minute segments and they're each directed
So
by a
it's
different director.
so it's kind of like an anthology thing.
Yeah, kind of, but I don't know that they're related even. I think it's just like they all made like short films. Like Quentin Tarantino made a short in it in Four Rooms. Robert
Okay.
Rodriguez did. It's have you ever seen the Quentin Tarantino one's all about like they make a bet where somebody can flick on like a Zippo kind of lighter 10 times in a row or something like that and if he doesn't do it they're going to cut his finger off. And and
Okay.
the whole short is them trying to convince the bellboy to be the guy who chops off the finger if he loses, because none of them actually want to cut his finger off.
Just
That's the only thing I remember about Four Rooms, though, is Quentin Tarantino's part. I don't remember what Robert Rodriguez did in it. And then he makes in 1996 From Dusk Till Dawn, which I mean, all-time classic.
all time classic. It's so funny that movie.
Have you ever seen The Faculty?
Yeah, dude, underrated horror movie.
Really good, right?
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah, dude.
body snatcher one.
Yeah, dude. Really, that movie, my Big Rob rented for me and Zach, like when it first came out on home video, way too early for us to be watching The
Yeah.
Faculty. Dude, I had fucking nightmares for weeks about that movie.
Yeah, that's like early Josh Hartnett too. He's
Yeah,
like one of
he's
the
making.
teenagers in it. I think Usher plays one of the teenagers in it.
Yeah, Usher is one of Elijah Wood is one of the kids in it. The girl from Fast and the Furious, Jordana Brewster, is in it.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Jean Grey is one of the teachers.
Yep. Thank you,
The
Jensen.
Terminator. Dude, that
You know
movie
who
always
else is
cracked.
in here? Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Shooter McGavin. Dude, that movie
I think
always
he plays
cracks
one
me
of the
up.
teachers. Maybe the coach, like the football coach.
No, the Terminator is the football coach, Robert Patrick. I think Christopher
Oh, right,
McDonald
right, right.
plays. I think he plays Elijah Wood's dad.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, but that movie always cracked me up that Josh Hartnett, like they're like, yeah, he's the drug, he sells the drugs, but he's also really smart. He manufactures the drugs too in the school lab.
Yeah. Yeah. Faculty, though, Robert Rodriguez, kind of like a silly slasher horror movie, but I think it's a pretty good version of that for
Oh, absolutely.
1998.
It's a really good version of the Body Snatchers for the 90s without just remaking the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. And then 2001 Spy Kids is the next movie that he directed.
Wow, what a
And
turn.
then 2002 Spy Kids 2 was the second
What it
one.
That must have been such an interesting build up to that coming out because up until that point you just know him for this like really violent action movie with, Antonio Banderas. Then you got these two crazy horror movies, one with a vampire, one with body snatchers, and they're like, "What are you gonna do next, Rob?" And he's just like, "Gonna do a kids movie." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, well, it's weird because the 2000s as a decade is like really two different stories for Robert Rodriguez. It's like him making Spy Kids movies and then him making things like Planet Terror and and Sin City.
His two great loves: violent spectacle and really adorable kids movies.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. So it's like that's kind of why I don't want to get too deep into him yet because I know a lot of these. I'm probably going to pick Once Upon a Time in Mexico as my pick you missed. That's a very early front runner because I really love that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
But
great one.
he's got a bunch of stuff coming up. I guess the only other one to talk about today then maybe 2005 Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I know you've seen this.
Dude, not only did I see that, Jim, I saw that in theaters.
Oh boy. Okay. So, but I would say for his kids movies, you probably have that pretty near the top, I would think, right?
What, of his kids' movies?
Yeah.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yes, correct.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
It's gotta be like that's my favorite of his kids
Sure.
movies. So
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
excited for that to come up.
And the only thing I remember from that movie is that like really weird mechanical monster that has George Lopez's face on it.
Yeah, the electric guy. Yeah. That's George Lopez's face. Oh
Fucking
man. And
what a
Shark Boy has that whole song when he's talking about punching out George Lopez.
yeah,
God, that
it's
movie's
like a
so
rap,
good.
right? Like, does he do like
Yeah,
a rap of
kinda.
it?
It's hard to just define. You can't put Shark Boy into a genre, okay?
Oh my
He's like
God.
a
All
genreless
right.
artist.
All right. That's enough out of you.
But no, so I think we can stop there for now for Robert Rodriguez. And then I mean, I don't know that there's really anybody else
Do a little
dig
Antonio.
into on this movie. I mean, like Antonio Banderas, but he's
We
feels like kind of a cop out for this one. This doesn't want to be the movie I pick him for.
Well, you could do a shorter one, either one of the two kids, either Daryl or Alexa. I think Alexa's been in some things.
Yeah, I know. Let's check it out really fast. I know she's been in some other Robert Rodriguez things. I'm pretty sure she's like a grown up in Machete.
Oh yeah, yeah, because isn't she's at that point, like when she got grown up, like she was hot.
I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure she was like a grown up person in Machete.
A grown up person.
That's right.
That's one way to
An
describe
adult, an adult, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, she has a shitload of credits. I don't know. None of this stuff really stands out to me. I mean, she's in a lot of these movies,
I
right?
don't know, dude. In the beginning, she's got in the '90s, man, a lot of kid roles, really, really striking hard.
In the 90s, let's see. Oh, she's got an ER credit.
See it, dude. Come on, she's doing her TV stints.
Yeah, that's
You
one
know how much
episode
we
of
love,
ER is like a
yeah,
big get in the
and you
90s.
know how much we love our procedural stints.
Oh, she's in a Happy Meal commercial in 1995,
Oh, that's big.
and she plays Molly Dwyer in that Hugh Grant movie 9 Months.
All right, yeah. See, that's a big one.
Okay, let's see what else is going on here in the 90s. She gets another Happy Meal commercial in 1996, just absolutely crushing the TV commercial game.
Crushing the Happy Meals.
She's in Twister.
Yeah. Yeah.
She plays the young Joe Harding in the beginning, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, the little
In the
girl.
flashback.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Wow,
I didn't
that's an
realize that.
insane credit.
That's a big credit right there. You know how much I love me some Twister.
Yeah. Do you know the Glimmer Man I've never heard of?
Never heard of that.
She's she plays she plays Claire DeLauder in Ghosts of Mississippi.
Oh, that's the Alec Baldwin movie, I think.
I believe so. Yeah, I think you got that
Yeah.
right.
The courtroom drama, baby. Dude, the 90s. Dude, gotta get that courtroom drama under your belt.
Yeah, she's in Dennis the Menace Strikes Again, which they made like a couple of live action Dennis the Menace movies that I think were pretty forgettable.
Oh boy.
TV movie Net Force. I don't know how I missed Net Force. That sounds great. And then that basically takes us to Spy Kids. None of the other stuff here recognize. After that, in 2002, she's on an episode of All That. It looks like she was playing the Spy Kids character on it.
It's hilarious.
She
It's
gets
so
one
funny
episode of
to
the Bernie
me.
Mac show in
Oh, gotta do your
2003.
stints, man. Gotta do your stints.
Um, I mean, she gets a lot of credits after this. I'm
Dude,
going through like
you can't forget probably her biggest theatrical release to date in 2004.
2004 Sleepover.
Dude, an absolute classic in the teen comedy game.
What is Sleepover? I don't think I ever saw this.
It's exactly what you would think it is, Jim. It's a sleepover. It's a cult
Oh, like
classic, according to the internet. It's a cult classic here.
Jane Lynch is in this
Jane
movie.
Lynch is in it. Sarah Paxton, Brie Larson, Steve
Wow.
Carell.
Wow, holy crap. Maybe I need to watch this, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Absolute classic right here. I did not realize that Brie Larson was in this movie either. That's hilarious.
That's ridiculous, yeah.
That's so funny. Dude, who did she? She must have been like 5. That's amazing.
Okay, yeah, and then she plays Killjoy in the two Machete movies. Um She's in the Sin City sequel, so right, she's doing like a lot of Robert Rodriguez stuff. And then she does one episode on The Mentalist in 2015. That's a big
There you
shout
go.
out.
There you go.
Oh, she's got 7 episodes for I think this is that Nashville reboot with Hayden Panettiere.
Which one?
You don't remember the show Nashville?
Oh, with Connie Britton too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I never watched it, but I do remember seeing that pop up all the time, and I was
This
like,
is why that show got canceled. It's your fault. You should have watched it. No, but she was 7 episodes on that, which I did
oh
not
man,
know. Uh,
doing her stints.
did you ever see The Murder Pact? That sounds like a straight to streaming movie.
Yeah, nope. Yeah, never heard of that.
Destination Wedding. That was that. Wait, what is that? Is that the J-Lo one? No, she plays the lead in this. Oh man. Destination Wedding. Nope, nothing I've ever heard of.
Hmm.
She does a voice on The Loud House. That's pretty interesting.
Did she? So she's still around, still
I
doing some
mean,
work in there.
there's a lot of credits here. I just have never heard of like 95% of them.
90%. She's on all the TV that we don't watch.
Yeah, but like 23 Blast from 2014 is that sounds so fake, right?
All right, like what the fuck?
That sounds like a play I would call in Madden. That doesn't sound like a movie. It's a football movie. No way.
Oh, there you go. See, Jim, you knew it.
When a high school football star is suddenly stricken with irreversible total blindness, he must decide whether to accept his new reality or attempt to return to the game he still loves.
Wow.
He's gonna play blind, dude. That you gotta watch it. They're
The
like
foot
kids. He's
the
maybe like
football's
9 years old.
the football's just in Braille.
The
As-
football's This is wild, dude. I gotta watch this movie. But it does not look. It looks like a really bad like.
Of course it
indie.
is. Dude, if we'd never heard of it, like of course it's bad. There's no way it's good.
It's from Touchdown Productions.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There you go.
Yeah, so if there's one takeaway from this IMDb deep dive, I'm gonna go watch 23 Blast.
There you go. At least you were able to find one good new movie to watch for yourself. Heavy quotations on the word good there, though.
Yeah.
So
And I
there,
mean, I think that's really it. I think that about covers it.
yeah.
We don't
Listen,
necessarily need to look much deeper than that into
I
Spy
don't,
Kids, right?
I don't think you can go any deeper than 23 Blast.
I'm Roger Ebert. In a scene from the best film of the decade. This is a great film.
Did you forget to not play it if it wasn't a great film, or did that just give it away for you? What your star rating is
Um,
going to
I still only have one Ebert song, so nothing has
be?
been given away yet.
All right, Jim, let's hear it.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. I like this movie. I'm probably gonna watch it again, like within the next couple weeks, which is high praise. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 from the Jimbo team. Yeah, this was it was a fun movie. It definitely knew exactly what it was trying to be, and it wasn't trying to be anything else. It's fun that it's super unique. Definitely runs a little long in the tooth at time, and there are some questionable portions of this movie, but nothing that actively ruins it. It's just a fun kids movie. So I'm gonna go just underneath you. I'm gonna do 3 stars.
All right.
So with a
I
3.5
think
from
anything?
Jimbo and a 3 from me, that's good enough for a 6.5. And happily enough, that doesn't give us with a 6 where I don't have to listen to you try and battle out which is a better movie, this or Enough. I don't even have to stomach that. It's ahead of
Wait, what
Enough.
happened? Why don't we have to battle it?
No, because it's sitting with a 6.5, and I don't have
Oh,
to
it's all
to
on its own.
no, it will battle, but I don't have to listen to you battle it with Enough like you did the other day.
Okay,
Where I had to listen to you battle Enough, and I just had to sit there somberly and hate myself internally for the entire sitting.
of course.
I don't have to, although I might have to do it right now if, depending on what your answer is,
Okay.
because I don't even know what to say if you, depending on what you pick here.
What's it going against? Jesus, get to it
So,
already.
so Jim, I love to build up suspense here. Jim, do you take Spy Kids 2, The Island of Lost Dreams,
Okay.
or Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones?
Oh no.
Jim,
Oh no, you're gonna make
Jim,
me say Spy Kids 2 is better than Attack of the Clones, aren't you?
Jim, I'm gonna walk away, Jim. I'm
Oh no.
gonna take my ball and go home.
Ah man,
You're
I
gonna make
am gonna
you're gonna
take.
make me not want to play anymore, Jim.
Wait, what am I supposed to pick?
It's
What's
not
gonna make
better than
me
Attack of
decide?
the Clones. Come on,
Oh,
Jim.
yeah. No, I'm taking Attack of the Clones. I
All right,
really
thank
thought
you.
hard about taking Spy Kids too, but
Stop
I'm
it.
gonna take Attack of the Clones.
Stop.
Relax, relax.
Give me a fucking heart palpitation over here.
What you? I mean, you honestly though, you think that's an easy decision?
Yes, Jim. I think it is an easy
I
decision.
don't think that's easy at all. I think that's a
This is
really tough one.
this is a fun movie, but it is not better than Attack of the Clones.
I mean, Attack of the Clones is a fun movie. That's about all it's got going for it. Like,
Yeah, but better. It's better than Spy Kids too.
okay, if you think that's an easy call, I agree with you. I just think it's like maybe a little bit closer than you're giving it credit for.
I'm not giving it any credit. No credits to be given. All right. Spy Kids 2 is going to slot in now at the number 17 spot, just behind Star Wars Episode 2 and just ahead of the Jennifer Lopez vehicle. Enough. Jimbo, would you like to take a guess as to next week's episode?
um, I think I already know actually. It's Harry Potter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you told me about it earlier this
Did
week.
I? Me can never remember the things that I say out loud outside of my mouth. Damn me.
Yeah,
Yes. You're excited? Excited to go back
I'm
to Harry Potter?
excited.
You should
Yeah,
be.
because
You know,
I
the
liked the
last
first one a lot.
I know you gave it a 5 star. It was a perfect rating from a Jimbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be very interested to see if Chamber of Secrets is gonna retain that perfect star for you, or if it's going to come in a little underneath it.
I
Uh,
am gonna guess that you'll have to wait till next week to find out.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You sandbagging son of a bitch.
I was gonna say it, and then I'm like, I probably shouldn't.
Yes, hold it off. Build that suspense, Jim. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to diving into that because like we talked with the Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets. These first two are the ones that I watched the least, so it will be interesting to dive into it and see if my opinions have changed on this one as they did with the first one. So it's gonna be fun watching that one. Do you have any recommendations to leave the people with this week?
Uh,
Watch anything new?
I know I'm behind the times on this, but I saw Fall Guy in theaters. It was really good.
Oh, finally caught up with the rest of the world. Well, not the rest of the world because
Yeah,
nobody went and
not
saw
a
that
lot of
movie
people
in
saw it
theaters.
actually.
No one went and saw that in theaters. Everybody waited until streaming to watch it. Now they're just like, this movie's so good. Like if a movie like this couldn't do it, and it was like, well, you're watching it at home on streaming, idiot. Like, what'd you think was gonna happen?
You tried to make me that idiot, but little
I
did you know
did.
I actually saw it in theaters.
Well, I was shocked that it was even still in some theaters. You had seen it so late. Like it was already on streaming by the time you had seen it in theaters. So it was an easy mistake to make. No one was going to see this bad boy while it was in theaters.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm pretty behind the times. That and then I'm about halfway through Hitman on Netflix. Did you watch that one?
Oh yeah, that wasn't that my recommendation last week.
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure that was my recommendation.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Was
It was.
was Hitman. Yeah, yeah, no, great movie, and I'm glad you're digging in on it.
I am digging it. That Glenn Powell guy is pretty good. Dude, you know
Okay,
what
dude,
else?
star in the making.
You brought this up on another episode, and I think I finally saw the trailer for Twisters. Holy shit, dude, I'm so in.
Yep, dude. And it's I talk about this with so many people when I talk about movies, and people like to like shit on stuff because I feel like a lot of people that I talk about with movies today, everyone's in like this weird fascination where it's hip to hate on something, or they always want to find that thing that it is that then they can shit on. Where I always tell people I feel like you and me are the complete opposite. Like all we need is that one little thing to hook us, and we're sold on a movie. And that thing in Twisters for me every time is the Glenn Powell line where he's like, "Fear is good. Fear is why you do it." He's like, "You don't chase your fears, you ride them." And I was like, "Fuck them in, man! Like, let's go! Like, have some fucking
Uh,
life."
for me, the part of the trailer when I was in was when he was like, look, the college girl with the fancy technology. Like when he was doing all that, like he's like the down home nitty gritty kind of tornado chaser. He
Yeah.
just does it on heart, like
She's
that.
like, she's like, "That was the plan," but then I screwed up. And he's like, "You want another chance?"
Yeah, exactly, dude. So that the idea that her science and his just total riz is like gonna,
It's
it's
just the
gonna
perfect pairing, baby.
right is gonna carry them through to chase all the tornadoes, and like the fact that the stakes of the movie are like she has a thing that can reverse the wind in a tornado to just totally stop it, like they're gonna combine to bring the end to tornadoes forever. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, dude, that movie went from them announcing it and me being like, why would you try and sully one of the greatest movies ever made, to be then seeing that trailer and now I'm like, let's do it, baby. Like I'm so fucking in for that
Dude,
movie. Like that movie
I
better make all the money.
I know. I can't even describe how excited I am for it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's so I'm super super excited for it.
That was the theory anyway.
Yeah,
It's
at least that was the
like you
theory.
got to get it out in the field.
Yeah. She's like, I
That's
don't
where
do I don't do field work anymore.
yeah.
Gotta get her back out in the field, baby.
Dude, it's gonna be so amazing.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for that. I don't have a recommendation this week. I mean, I could just say the movie that I went and saw recently, but I'm not. Instead, like you, I am going to talk about a trailer that I just saw that I know you are also going to be very excited about.
Oh,
Trailer dropped finally, Jim, for Paddington in Peru
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
for
I
the
do
third
love Paddington
yeah,
too.
for the third Paddington movie. And line up the boys. We got another hit on our hands, baby. Paul King coming back with another surefire classic. this movie looks fantastic.
Paul King is the king, dude.
He is. Paul King is the king. And after from like Paddington 2 obviously cemented it, and Wonka only reaffirmed it. That Paul King has joined an elite list of writer directors that I don't even need to see the log line. If I see that you're attached to it, I'm fucking there, man.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the reason I went and saw Wonka, and I was not disappointed, man. That movie was really good too.
Yeah, Paul King, just an absolute family friendly hit machine. And Paddington 2 going to be another classic, and great announcement too. Because when I saw that trailer drop, I'm like, all right, cool. They're setting up for stuff that's going to be coming out next year. No, no, no. November 7th, baby. Mark it on the
Oh, nice.
calendars. Yep.
Is it
So,
is it all this? Is the family in it again?
yep. Family's back. Everyone's
Oh my
back.
god.
Oh, this ties into Spy Kids. Antonio Banderas is in it.
Whoa, nice.
Oh yeah, baby.
Is he gonna
So
be the villain?
probably. I mean, they don't you don't really see anything of a villain in it, but he leaves it where like from his scene, like he could end up being like nefarious, like Hugh Grant is. But so
Yeah.
far from the trailer, it looks like he's just taking Paddington on his boat into Peru.
Oh,
So
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 maybe not. Maybe he's
yeah, so
playing
maybe
more
not.
like a
So,
Brandon Gleeson type character where he's
yeah.
gonna befriend Paddington.
Or he could just he's pretty much like the same character from Indiana Jones, where he's just like the main character is like a sidekick kind of guy. Like he's like, hey, I'm here to help. Like, you need a boat? Let's go.
Yeah, dude, that sounds amazing. I'm I'm so excited for this movie.
Yeah. So Jim, check out the Paddington trailer. I know you're gonna love it. And all you people at home as well. If you haven't seen the majesty that is Paddington, course correct yourself right now, because that's probably the peak of our film history as far as family friendly movies go, is Paddington 2.
Yeah, it's my favorite like of all time. It's seriously in my top 5 movies out of all the movies.
Yeah, it's a
It's so perfect.
it's a bona fide hit, and it's one of those movies that you'll explain to people that it's like one of the greatest movies of all time, and they think you're overhyping it, and then you tell them to just go watch it, and then they come back to you and you're like, no, yeah, dude, you were totally right. Like, if anything, you still undersold it.
Yeah, it's like that and Coco are like the movies like I don't know if I could ever watch them without crying at the end. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I just
absolutely.
don't know that it's possible.
Yeah, they're just pure bona fide classics right there. So yeah, do your due diligence, people. Get up to date on your Paddington. Absolutely make sure you're there for Twister's opening. And we'll see you next week when we dive into Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. But that'll do it for all of us here at Front Row Cinema. As always, until next time, we'll see you at the movies.